of you. Today we are going to have an endowment lecture under the T.V. Viswanatha Iyer and K. Chandrasekharan endowments. It is called the Bhishma Day. Every year we are having this lecture where the speaker would talk about some aspect taken from the greatest epic, namely Mahabharata. So, T.V. Viswanatha Iyer and C.K. Chandrasekhar Iyer both are well known, not only in legal circles, but also in the cultural circles and also in the society. Both were very well known personalities during their lifetimes. Both were also presidents of Samskrita Ranga as well as Samskrita Academy as well as Kupuswami Shastri Research Institute. K. Chandrasekharan was the secretary also for a long time. And both of them were real admirers of our epics, our Sanskrit literature, and our cultural activities that were going on in the campus. So this talk has been organized under the endowment in the names of these two great personalities, namely T.V. Viswanatha Iyer and C.K. Chandrasekhar Iyer. And today we are going to listen to the presentation by Dr.V.Preethi, Assistant Professor of Sanskrit in the Kupuswami Shastri Research Institute. Dr.V.Preethi had her BA and also MA Sanskrit. She is a student of the Savitri Ammal Oriental School as well as I think Queen Mary's College. And she submitted her PhD in a very interesting subject, Chennai, as reflected in the Sanskrit literature. Very interesting, a very painstaking study for which she was awarded the PhD by the University of Madras. And she was employed previously with the Kumararani Muttaya College in Adyar as Assistant Professor of Sanskrit. And she joined our institute 2 years ago in the capacity of Assistant Professor. Since then, she has been participating in many seminars and conferences, presenting interesting papers, and also publishing some articles in journals as well as magazines. She is engaged in all the research activities of our research institute. Presently, she will be jointly editing the yoga text called Goraksha Samhita with English translation, notes, and a critical introduction, which will be published soon by the Kupuswami Shastri Research Institute. And some more texts, we hope, would follow one by one from her pen. And she has chosen a very interesting topic for today's talk about the Srshti and Pralaya. So, as depicted in, as described in the Mahabharata, and without taking much of your time, I would now leave the forum to Dr. V.Preethi to continue.
Good evening to one and all. Today, my topic is Bhishma's perspective on Srshti and Pralaya. First of all, I thank the Sanskrit Academy for giving me this opportunity to talk about Bhishma and his perspective in Srishti and Pralaya. Now I'm going to share my PPT. Bhishma's perspective on Srishti and Pralaya. Bhishma, also known as Pitamaha and Devavrata, was the eighth son of Kuru king Shantanu and goddess Ganga. He was appointed as the heir apparent to his country under his original name of Devavrata. For his father's happiness, he gave up the crown and vowed to be celibate for the rest of his life. Because of this terrible Shapata, he earned the name Bhishma and received the blessings of his father Shantanu to die at his own will. He also promised his father that he would always be by the side of the Kuru throne. He was the best archer and fighter of his time. He had the fighting prowess of 4 Maharathis and was capable of taking many of them at once. He played a significant role in the political affairs of the Kuru realm. He was not only a warrior, but also a great statesman with unmatched wisdom and deep knowledge in all branches of learning. Hence, in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata, we see Bhishma Pitamaha lying in the arrow bed, imparting to Yudhishthira the Raja Dharma, as well as the supreme knowledge of realizing the Almighty. As he had promised his father, Bhishma was engaged in the Kurukshetra war on the side of Kauravas. Now, after the war is over, he still felt his obligation to the throne that he had to guide Yudhishthira in many matters. It is only after satisfying himself that he had taught Dharmaputra all his acquired knowledge, and that after getting assured that Dharmaputra would rule the kingdom well, Bhishma reached his law. His teachings include the 36 virtues of a king, the history of sovereignty, the main responsibility of a kingdom, the signs of future success, how to overcome challenges, the root and foundation of sin, knowledge of the supreme soul, and the tree of desire. Not only that, but he also discusses the creation and destruction of the universe from a variety of perspectives, citing the several discussions that had taken place between great rishis. Bhishma narrates in detail the creation of the universe, Bhrigu's explanation to Bharadwaja Rishi, Vyasa's words to his son Shukha, Vasishta's explanation of King Karala, who was the race of Janaka, Yajnavalkya to Janaka. The Srishti, creation and Pralaya, destruction of the universe, explained by Bhishma to Yudhishthira as he had understood from the sources mentioned earlier, will be now looked into. Introduction to Srishti and Pralaya. The two activities that occur at great intervals of time and in a cyclic fashion are Srishti and Pralaya. The world is continuously changing, both in terms of its physical landscape and its inhabitants. Between the Srishti and Pralaya period, the causes of Srishti and Pralaya have been the subject of speculation from the Vedic times, and our ancient Indian seers have developed several hypotheses. As a preamble to Pitamaha's explanation of Srishti, well, let us have a look into the Vedic views about the creation. Srishti explained in Vedas. The Vedas, which are the earliest fragments of Indian literature to have been found and studied to date, contain oldest theories on cosmogony and cosmology. The puzzle of the universe beginning has always been and will always be a part of human mind. In this regard, the Vedic seers have made an effort to offer conjectural explanation based on empirical evidences. The Naradiya Sukta, the Naradiya Sukta, also known as the hymn of creation, declares that there was neither existence nor non-existence in the beginning. There was no sky, no air, unfathomable water may have been present, but it is unknown what protected it from elements and provided shelter. Ritveda, Nasadino Sadasi Sadanim Nasi Drajo no Vyomo Paro Yat Himavarivaha Puha Kasya Sharman Nambaha Himasi Gahanam Gabhiram. According to the third rik of the same sutta, there was first nothing but blackness cloaked in darkness, chaos reigned, and there was formlessness, but by the force of heat, one was born. Tama asit tamasa gulhamagre apraketam salilam sarvama idam tuchyena bhava tuchyena babihitam yedasit tapasas tanmahina jayateikam. In the beginning also, known as the primordial era and the beginning of the cosmos, nothing was manifest. This cosmos, the result, was born out of the potency of that one, the fundamental substance, the cause, or the omnipotence. Again, in the Hiranyagarbha Sukta, puts forth a theory that Hiranyagarbha, golden egg, was in existence before all creatures. He alone was and is the Lord and sustainer of all beings. He holds, sustains, and supports the entire universe. Hiranyagarbha samavartatagre bhutasya jataha patirekha asit sadadhara prithivim dhyamutetam tasmai devaya havisha vidhema. According to Purusha Sukta, the Virata Purusha was initially manifested as the Adi Purusha, Tasmat Virajo Ajayata. Similar to the Rigveda, the Taittiriya Samhita and Vajasaneya Samhita assert that the universe was formed from the Hiranyagarbha golden embryo. The Atharva Veda gives out the idea that in the beginning, Kamba in the midst of the world sends out the golden light in the shape of Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbham paramam anutyudyam jana viduhu kambhastadagre pasinchad diranyam loke antara. And that Kamba is all supporting divine force that creates the cosmic order and provides the material objects of earlier cycles a new shape and form. Yatra Kambaha Prajanayan Puranam Yavarthayan Ekam Padangam Kambhasya Purana Manu Samviduhu. The Bhavavrata hymn describes how creation arose from the rigorous will of divinity or tapas. Rita and Satya were created, followed by night, a billowing sea floor, time, day, Surya and Chandra, heaven and earth, the mid-region and the light. You can see the text I have quoted in the PPT. From this, it be understood that the galaxies broke away from the cosmic Brahmanda, moving apart from one another at a rate inversely proportionate to the separation. This is termed as the theory of expanding universe in the modern physics. Creation of universe described in Mahabharata. The Mahabharata adheres to the Vedic notion in the field of Srshti. In the Shanti Parva, chapter 182 and 183, Bhishma narrates the old discourse of sage Bhrigu in reply to the question of Bharadvaja regarding Srshti. Evam sa Bhagavan Krishto Bharadvajena samshayam Brahmarshi Brahma Samkashaha Sarvam Tasmai Tato Abhravit. By the time of Mahabharata, the idea of a supreme being as the creator of all things to have been established. So, Bhishma directly talks about the primordial power called as tapas or kama by the which he now terms as manas. Now, this power is given the status of the supreme being from whom everything evolved. Bhishma starts describing the greatness of manas. He is well known to the great rishis. He is eternal, unfading, unchangeable, without decay, unmanifest, eternal and immortal. Manaso nama vikhyataha shutapurvo maharshibhi anadi nidhano devaha tatha abhedyo ajara maraha. Avyakta iti vikhyataha shashvato athakshayo avyayah. Interestingly, Bhishma here adds that all living things are created by him and through him they die. Yataha srishtani bhutani jayante cha mriyanti cha. Yataha srishtani bhutani jayante cha mriyanti cha. Then Manas created Mahat, a divine entity, great. In turn, Mahat created the Ahankara. So Asrujat Prathamam Devo Mahantam Nama Namataha Mahan Sasarja Ahankaram Sachapi Bhagavanatha. Again, it is to be noted that both Mahan and Ahankara are considered as divine beings. The adjective Deva is used for Mahat and Bhagavan for Ahankara. Bhishma continues narrating that from Ahankara, the mighty entity Akasha was born. From Akasha came Jala, and from Jala came Agni and Vayu. The Prithvi earth was created by the union of Agni and Vayu. आकाशमिति विख्यातं सर्वभूतधरः प्रभुः आकाशात् अभवत् वारी सलिलादग्निमारुतौ अग्निमारुतसंयोगात् ततः समभवन् भुवि. A new idea is stated here by Bhishma, different from the Vedic views as well as the Puranic views in connection with Srshti. Here, we have to consider the view of Sri S.R.N. Murthy, senior acclaimed geologist of India. He considers the Panchabhutas as connected to electromagnetic field, atmospheric field, geothermal field, hydrosphere, and gravitational field in their order. He also considers Jala, Agni, and Vayu as the three causal components for all the earthly activities. To continue, Bhishma says that after creating the Panchabhutas, the lotus of energy was produced by Manas, and from that lotus, Brahma emerged. Tatas tejo mayam divyam padmam srishtam swayambhuva tasmat padmat samabhavat Brahma vedamayo nidhi. Now Bhishma describes the Supreme Being, the creator of all. The bones of the Supreme Being are mountains. His fat and flesh are formed by the earth. His blood consists of the sea. His stomach is his space. Fire is his energy, and the wind creates his breath. His activities and veins are formed by the rivers. His eyes are the sun and moon. Above his head lies the sky. His 2 feet are the earth. The directions are his arms. You can see the text quoted in the PPT. After narrating this, Bhishma adds that this primordial being is beyond understanding. This divine being who permeates entire cosmos is known by the term Ananta. Sayesha Bhagavan Vishnuhu Ananta iti Vishrutaha Sarva Bhutatma Bhutasto Durvigneyo Akritatma Bhi. Now, Bhishma talks about the boundaries of the great Panchabhutas, which are essential to understand Srshti and Pralaya, as said by Bhrigu to Bharadwaja. Boundaries of the Panchabhutas. The Akasha is limitless. It is the home of celestial people and effective ascetics. It contains many self-luminary worlds. Its boundaries are unknown. The moon and sun are limited to what their own rays can view and not the entire Akasha. There are numerous dazzling self-luminous worlds stacked one on top of the other in this space, which even the most celestial cannot measure. Oceans lie beyond the boundaries of land. Darkness lies beyond the ocean. Water and fire are both found beyond darkness. Water is located beyond the nether region. The area of the huge serpent is located beyond the water. After that, there is more sky, and after that, there is more water. This is another important geographical factor recorded by Bhishma. The idea of water beyond sky and sky beyond water and more water beyond all this is recent development in the field of geology. To continue as a result of this, the sky and the ocean continue without end. Land, water, wind, and fire all have characteristics similar to those of space. Even the gods are unable to define the boundaries of fire, wind, and water. एवमन्तं भगवतः प्रमाणं सलिलस्य च अग्निमारुततोयेभ्यो दुर्ज्ञेयं दैवैरपि. In this discourse of Bhishma, the term great refers to everything that is a part of the infinite. These five components, known as Panchabhutas, are therefore referred to as great creatures. The wind is active, space makes the sound, fire is the heat that resides inside, its fluids are made up entirely of water, the earth is made up of the hardened materials such as bones and flesh. Hence, the five elements make up the bodies. अमितानां महाशब्दो यान्ति भूतानि सम्भवं ततस्तेषां महाभूतशब्दो अयम् उपपद्यते. चेष्टावायुः समाकाशम् उष्माग्निः सलिलं द्रवः पृथिवी चात्र सङ्घातः शरीरं पाञ्चभौतिकम्. These Panchabhutas, five components, are the foundation of all objects, both mobile and immobile. In each, the ratios are different. For these five elements, all moving objects are movable. The five elements are also present in the five senses as Pancha-Jnanendriyas. The characteristics of space are what make up the ear, the eyes of fire, the nose of earth, the tongue of water, and the touch of wind. The components of the human body: skin, meat, bones, marrow, acidities, and veins are made of earth. Energy, anger, eyes, internal heat, and the heat which digests the food taken. These five form the fire that exists in all embodied creatures. The ears, nostrils, mouth, heart, and stomach. These five form the element of space that exists in the bodies of living creatures. Phlegm, bile, sweat, fat, blood are the five kinds of water that exist in mobile bodies. Through the vital breath called prana, a living creature is capable of moving about. Through that called vyana, they act. Apana goes downward. Samana lives within the heart. Udana, one passes exhalation and is enabled to speak by virtue of its going through the lungs, the throat, and the mouth. These are the five sorts of vital air that causes our embodied creature to live and move. Creation, as described in Puranas. Srshti and Pralaya of the earth and the universe are bound by the concept of time or kala. According to the Puranas, Srshti and Pralaya and beginning of next Srshti make one creation cycle that occurs at great interval of time called kalpa. Within a kalpa, there are minor cycles taking place at shorter period of time called manvantara, chaturyuga, yuga, etc. Only after a pralaya or deluge, another creation is made. The passing through of a period of activity and passivity called kalpa is a day and night of Brahma. Srishti basically takes place on five levels. A description in the sattva, rajas, and tamo gunas triggers the development of avyakta rupa, which transforms from avyakta rupa to vyakta rupa. The first cosmos is said to have come from Hiranyagarbha or Brahma, who was created from the divine lotus that was born from the Narayana's Nabhi. The Puranas also reiterate the idea that Mahas creates Ahankara, from which Tanmatras are made, followed by Panchabhutas, and then Surya, the moon, Shapta, Rishis, stars, and solar systems are all born together in the universe as well as on earth. Majority of the Puranas, with a few minor modifications, describe the same pattern in the creation of universe. Modern science and theories of creation. Modern science has a wide range of beliefs on how the cosmos was created. Modern science states that a tremendous explosion formed the cosmos 13 billion years ago. Particles were propelled in all directions by the Big Bang, an unimaginably powerful energy explosion. It grew from the size of a microscopic particle to a region bigger than the Milky Way in the span of a split second. After that, it began to cool into a pool of atomic particles. As it continued to grow and cool, the atomic explosion transformed into a substantial cloud. This cloud was so dense that not even light rays could travel through it. The energetic, unstable atomic particles began to merge within the first 3 minutes to form more stable groups. They acted as the building blocks of the cosmos. After countless years, the temperature of the cosmos finally fell to a few thousand degrees Celsius. The temperature changed and the dense fog evaporated as a result of the atomic particles changing shape. The emergence of star forming galaxies is what made the cosmos the current state of transparency. The alterations of various energies uh, have created our cosmos. To learn what was within, atomic scientists shattered atoms, the protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up each component of the atom could be viewed as the conjoined triad forces of sattva, rajas, and tamas. This roughly corresponds to the modern scientific theory that the cosmos was created from dark matter or dark energy. Pralaya Pralaya only happens when the Earth's ability to correct itself is lost and the creation and change process came to a halt. In that case, a whole revamp of the issue is required by the creative system, which also needs time to rest in order to recover. So it is believed that the system of cleaning up that occurs after the conclusion of Pralaya will give the earth a fruitful period to heal itself. Pralaya, as described in Mahabharata, Bhishma provides an explanation regarding Pralaya from the conversation between Janaka and Yajnavalkya years ago. According to Yajnavalkya, all things produced are repeatedly generated and destroyed by the Brahman, who is unchanging and eternal. He looks for the sleep once his day is through and night has fallen. When this happens, the unmanifest Brahman summons Maharudra, a powerful being. In response to the Brahman's request, Maharudra torments himself into 12 parts, each looking like a raging fire. He takes the appearance of 12 Adityas with countless rays. Tataha Shatasahasra Sahasramshu Kya Sahasramshu Vyaktenabhichoditaha Kritva Dvadashadha Atmanamadityo Jwalad Agnivat. The four types of created beings, Andaja, Shvetaja, Udbija, and Jarayuja, are then consumed by his energy in a little period of time, in the blink of an eye. All living things, both mobile and immobile, are erased, leaving the planet as barren on all sides as a tortoise shell. Then Rudra pours powerful water upon the barren soil. Then he starts the cycle of fire, which evaporates the water. As the water disappears, the terrible flames of the immense element of fire continues. Then the strong wind appears in all eight of its forms with immeasurable force. It quickly consumes the raging fire as the wind blows in all directions. Then that wind transcendent strength is devoured by the infinite space of existence. The intellect is devoured by the soul of everything, known as Ahankara, the big soul that has knowledge of both the past and the future, that is Ahankara. The entire universe is afterwards eaten by Shambhu, the all powerful being, who is regarded as the supreme and unadulterated effulgence that is unchangeable. He exists holding everything. His hands and feet cover every area. His eyes, head, and face are everywhere. His ears cover every location. He is the center of all life and is about the size of. Therefore, the universe is devoured by that infinite supreme soul, the king of all, the one who is completely faultless, who created the past, the now, and the future, and who cannot change or degrade, and is the creator of all these, continues after this. Pralaya, according to Puranas. In the Puranas, many instances involving divine powers are described as the cataclysmic changes, Pralaya, that have occurred on the planet at different points in Earth's history. According to the Puranas, forces that causes Pralaya are also divine. In all of the instances relating to various cases, the earth suffers because it is covered in water, folded into a mat shape, and loses its ability to right itself. These events may have been characterized as attempts by Asuric powers to torture the planet, and they were viewed as evil. Puranas claim that uh, throughout a period of time known as Kalpa, Brahma's night, Lord Narayana, who manifests himself in various forms, takes everything into himself, either partially or completely. Known as Pralaya, this cycle never ends and is a part of the Pralaya process. This is accepted by all the major Puranas, which categorize Pralaya into three or four categories: Nitya, Naimittika, Prakrita, and Atyantika. The Bhagavata Purana describes four types of pralaya: Nitya, Naimittika, Prakrita, and Atyantika. Nityo Naimitikashchaiva tatha Prakritiko layaha Atyantikascha katitaha kalasya gatiridrishi. The Kurma Purana also mentions these four kinds of pralayas: Nityo Naimitikashchaiva Prakritiko Anyantikas tatha Chaturtha Ayam Purano Asmin Prochyate Pratisancharaha. Accordingly, every moment of time, as the time changes, that could be considered as Nitya Pralaya, Atyantika Pralaya. The Atyantika Pralaya refers to human liberation or moksha. According to the Bhagavata Purana, the Naimitika Pralaya occurs at the conclusion of every Kalpa. 1000 Chaturyugas or 4 yugas are referred to as the Kalpa, which is thought to be Brahma's daytime. Brahma's night, which lasts for an equal number of 1000 Chaturyugas and dissolves all three worlds, occurs at the conclusion of a Kalpa. The moment when the entire universe to its original one being is referred to as the Prakrita Pralaya. This occurs at the end of Brahma's span of existence. All categories completely dissolve into the absolute cause, Prakriti, during this Pralaya. Also, this Pralaya is known as the Prakrita Pralaya since it dissolves the primary categories that were derived from Prakriti. Modern science on Pralaya, the English astronomer Proctor and the Austrian professor of mathematics and astronomy, Lars Smith, each came to a different conclusion about the world's impending dissolution. They explain it by saying that the sun will slowly and gradually cool off, which must eventually lead to the planet's inevitable demise. The inert, rigid luminary will then be approached by all the planets, colliding with it to form one enormous body in accordance with the law of gravitation. Professor Tay believes that the complete cooling of our planet will inevitably result in its death. Then, and for all time, the life, both animal and the planet, that had previously relocated from the northern, already frozen regions to the equator will completely vanish from the surface of the earth, leaving no record of its past existence. The last cloud will have dropped their final rain upon the earth. The course of the streams and rivers, bereft of their vivifier and motor, the sun will be arrested and the seas will have frozen into a mass. The earth will be enveloped into a deep cold and darkness. The ceaseless atmospheric motion will have changed into complete rest and silence. Conclusion. We have seen the various ideas put forth by the Vedas, Bhishma in the Mahabharata, and the Puranas about Srshti and Pralaya. Bhishma's discourse on Srshti is a development of the Vedic views and the same along with some new concepts added to it. These new concepts, though scientific, as shown already, do not find place in the Puranic description of Srishti. In the same way, Bhishma's elucidation of Pralaya is also different from the narration given in the Puranas. The description of Srshti and Pralaya as given by Bhishma needs deeper study along with the Puranic explanation of the same concept. Scholars of cosmology and cosmogony, as well as the geologists and geographers, should probe into these matters and bring out the really scientific information that is embedded in our ancient literature like Vedas, Itihasas, and Puranas. Thank you. I'm closing my lecture, and thank you, the Samskrita Academy and the endowment makers, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Anand.
We are thankful to Dr.V.Preethi for giving an idea of Srshti and Pralaya, creation and dissolution, as instructed by Bhishma in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. And it should be noted that she didn't take much time. Like many of the speakers, she was able to finish the talk within the span of less than 40 minutes. And as we all know, Yadihasti Tadanyatra Yannehastri Naputrachit. That is what being said by Vyasa about his own creation, Mahabharata. So Mahabharata contains all the details pertaining to different branches of arts, science, etc. And it is no wonder that these subjects have been discussed very elaborately in different places in the Mahabharata. And Bhishma, as we know, is a very highly learned person whose proficiency has been praised by many in the Mahabharata, including Lord Krishna himself. And one of the most well-known contributions of Bhishma is the Vishnu Sahasranama, as it is being recited by millions of people even today in the homes, in the temples, in so many places. So Bhishma is not an ordinary person, and this endowment is named after Bhishma. And it pertains to any topic within Mahabharata, and Dr.V.Preethi chose to talk about the subject of Pralaya as well as Srshti, as described by Bhishma in the Mahabharata. We are thankful to her for her neat presentation. Of course, there was some disturbance, but these are bound to happen. And leaving out all these things, overall, we are happy that youngsters have come forward to study our epics and other literature in Sanskrit, because they contain a lot of wealth of knowledge. So such talks give us ample scope for studying further or looking at our epics and the classical literature in new perspective. With this in mind, on behalf of Sanskrit Academy, I thank Dr.Preethi for her excellent talk on this subject. We are also thankful to the endowment makers, the family members of respected Sri T.V. Viswanatha Iyer and respected Sri K. Chandrasekharan, who have been connected with all the institutions here, Sanskrit Academy, Swami Shastri Research Institute, Sanskrit College, and so on, and both of whom were highly respected by the scholars as well as public of Chennai and other places. We are thankful to the family members of both of them, and I take this opportunity to thank all of you, reminding you that this talk will be uploaded in YouTube shortly. We shall be sending the link, and those who could not listen to it fully can listen to it again, watch this talk again, and I request all of you to kindly mark your appreciation, that is the like in the YouTube, so that it gets recognition. And once again, I thank Dr.V.Preethi for her taking so much of time to collect information. And I'm sure Professor Parsati would have been also happy, because she is a person who is interested deeply in all these subjects. And we hope that more and more new subjects will be dealt with in subsequent talks organized by the Sanskrit Academy. And next week, we are going to have another talk by Dr. Yamuna, also from the Kuppaswamy Shastri Research Institute, that will be on another great scholar during modern times, Mahamopadhyaya Lakshmana Suri. And I request all of you to participate in it also. We shall be sending the link shortly to all of you. Thank you all.